welcome to the Whalish Podcast, your favorite podcast to learn about the astonishing nature of whales. At this fine hour, we will be discussing the incredible history and extraordinary evolution of the whale. Before we begin, I must give you my full whalish gratitude for turning on this podcast. It truly means a lot to me. But enough with that. As I said today, we will cover the remarkable evolution of whales and take a deep dive into the full history of whales. However, this episode seems like quite a bit much, which is why I took the liberty to invite a spectacular guest. Please give a warm welcome to Sir Robert Whaley for accompanying us on this journey for the evolution of the Pakicetus.
Hello, fellow whalish people. I am Sir Robert Whaley, an expert on whale evolution, and I am very happy to be able to share a few of these evolutionary facts with you. To start off, I would like to share an interesting fact. Were you aware the closest living relative to the whale is the hippopotamus?
I had been unaware of that.
Well, then this shall be a very educational podcast for you. Now, to talk about the evolution of the whales, we must first talk about the original whale, the Pakicetus. The Pakicetus walked on 4 legs, even having a canine-like tail.
Very intriguing. I once heard that the Pakicetus started to evolve before the dinosaurs. Was this true?
Well, of course not. The first whales, the Pakicetus, had appeared 50 million years ago, which is far after the extinction of the dinosaurs.
That is quite interesting. It seems I will have to boot a member from the Whalish Discord for false whale information. But if the Pakicetus had evolved after the dinosaurs had died, what did they evolve from?
The Pakicetus had evolved from the Indoneus before evolving into the Pakicetus, eventually going into the modern-day whale. But let us continue forward on the evolution chart instead of backwards.
Of course. When you say eventually evolved into the whale, can you explain the evolution process in more detail?
With pleasure. The Pakicetus evolved into the ambulatories, which were the next major point of evolution. A much larger species without the canine tail of the Pakicetus.
Ah yes, their tails were much smoother and more optimized towards the water, correct?
That is spot on. After the optimization of the ambulatories, the whale ancestry decided to enter the water, becoming the Mesocetus. They could have been called partial amphibians because they still had 4 legs, even though they used them as flippers, but they could still walk, albeit slowly.
If I'm correct in my research, the next major evolution was the Dorudon, when whales had developed tail flukes and lost the ability to walk on land, as well as having an even farther back nasal cavity.
Yes, it has shared many similarities with the modern-day whale, as it finds itself high on the evolutionary chart. It did in fact have a tail fluke, which allowed it to propel itself through water at high speeds. Mysticetes, also known as baleen whales, are still alive today, with 16 species and variations.
That is very intriguing. But before we continue, I would like to advertise the Whalish Podcast's very own whale watching kit with a Halloween sale. Have you ever wanted to watch whales? Well, now you can, with our very own whale watching kit. This top-of-the-notch whale enthusiast kit comes with a splendid spyglass, a smashing echolocation device, and even a foldable chair for those who like to sit and watch. Even all the youngsters love this whale watching kit. Here's my very own ankle biter using and loving his rad product.
I dig this product.
Like even more incentive, buying it today will put you in a small raffle to win your very own whale. What more could you fine fellows need from a whale watching kit? Buy today at 613-5613. Now, please continue. I believe we were just finished with the mesothesis.
Ah, yes. After the mesothesis, about 40 million years ago, the modern-day whale came to be. Since then, evolution has slowly taken its course to give them the most advantages in the form that they can have.
Interesting. But let's skip the details about the modern whale. What about the future whales? Are there any theories on how they will evolve further?
We can predict or loosely predict, based on the previous evolutions, that the modern-day whales will continue to get larger over unforetold periods of time. And through the unpredictability of evolution, they could even grow wings and swoop from the sky, eating humans or large animals.
That is quite a terrifying fact. I don't believe I will be sleeping tonight. But on that note, I believe this episode is finished. Before we whale out of here, I would like to personally thank all of you fine whalish folks for tuning in. As of the next episode, deep dive into the feces of whales. You should expect to see it within one fortnight. I would also like to thank our special guest, Sir Robert Whaley, for allowing us to learn about the intriguing evolution of the Pakicetus.